What's going on, race fans, and welcome to this evening's broadcast on Maconi Entertainment. My name is Will Tiller, and I am thrilled to be joined tonight by another Will, William Hale, and Eddie Smith working the decks in our producer booth. Camera angles tonight are provided by Dougie Beard. Tonight's event is the first race of the season of Ignite Racing League Hot Rod Setups Cup Series, featuring the next gen cars at the LA Coliseum, a beautiful venue to kick off the season here tonight. This track was a temporary track debuted earlier this year at the Clash of the Coliseum, which 2022 now champion Joey Logano taking home. We still have a full season of racing ahead of us, but we will see that trend continue. Let's find out. Will, with two Wills up in the booth here tonight, why don't you tell us a little bit more about this beautiful track that I love so much?
First off, hi Will. I'm Will. First time working together with you. It's a pleasure up here, Eddie. Pleasure to be back up here. This quarter-mile flat track really is built on top of the Coliseum, right? The Raiders played here back in the day when John Madden coached the Raiders, and beautiful venue. This place is absolutely gorgeous. It opened in 1923. The Olympics has been here, and now a racetrack is here. It's very tight. It's not really technical. It's really just push to pass. Really, there is no technicality to it with these next gen cars. You can kind of beat and bang as we saw earlier this year with the Clash. So, yeah. I'm interested to see how this plays out. Quarter miles can be a lot of fun if you let them, but this is smaller than we typically see a cup car on, right? This is an oddball track that we just kind of threw everybody at and said, "Here you go, have fun," right? So, kind of a Bowman Grayish style racetrack, which is kind of what everybody's wanting to see these days. They want to see the carnage and want to see it happen. So, I guess let's see some carnage here. What do you think?
Oh yeah, this is in all pretense of the word of a clash at the Coliseum. We're gonna see clashing going on here at the Coliseum. Here tonight, we're gonna run those next gen cup cars that everybody loves and are still getting the handle of here in iRacing. We're gonna run 10 lap heats to set the order for the future here, which is gonna be an interesting concept here tonight, Will. And then after that, we're gonna run 200 lap feature race here at the Coliseum. We were speaking off air before we came live here on Maconi Entertainment. This is gonna be one of those where it could be a lot of cautions or a green flag run here.
Yeah, it most certainly can. I mean, we can run 150 laps under yellow, or we can run 150 laps under green. It's really much a toss up. I'm hoping for the green. I like seeing racing. I don't like seeing people going home on a hook, and it makes for a rough night. Um, with these open setups provided by Hot Rod setups, they should be driving good. They look like they were driving good in practice. Qualifying looks like they've been going pretty good. So let's. I'm really hoping for green flag racing. I know these drivers are as well. So let's hope for the latter.
Yeah, I'm excited to see who really raises to the occasion here tonight. This is the first race of the season. Everybody's going to get to know their favorites. Maybe they already have a favorite driver in the field. We're going to get to know the field as well. Who's racing in this league here tonight? Who's the names to watch out for? There's a lot to learn here tonight at the Coliseum. Cannot wait to get this action started. And I think qualifying is all but wrapped up here. We got about a minute left. We're going to get to know these names. We're going to get to know them in the 10 lap heats as well. Do you know any names that might be jumping out to you already on the grid that might shine here in this series?
Trayton Lapsovich in that third spot is pretty good in just about anything he jumps in. Big fan of that in general. A lot of short track guys I see in here that'll be good tonight. I don't know as the series progresses. We'll have to see how that works out. But a lot of good short track guys in here. Like Kyle Edgar, DiVincenzo, which is 1, 2, 3 right there. The guys I laid out. Carson Nagy's another one that I think could be good as the year goes on. You just never know, right? Especially this race doesn't really show what the rest of the year is going to be like, even. So um, we'll have to just see how the year goes through.
Yeah, this is going to be one heck of a kickoff race here tonight for these Hot Rod Setup series here. Reach out to Hot Rod Setups on Facebook or Discord. We also want to thank our series partners here to begin this season, TAM Livery and JP Alfonso Studios, and of course, All this beautiful coverage is brought to you by Maconi Entertainment. We are excited to be here tonight. We're excited to kick off this season, and it looks like we're going to do just that here, Will.
We most certainly are. We're going to kick it off here with heat race number 1. To go down the grid here. For heat race number 1, we got Tyler DiVincenzo starting on the pole. We have Connor James starting second. Carson Nagy starting third. Justin Knapp in that 4th spot. Nathan Spinks in that 5th spot. Connor Ellis in the 6th spot. And Colton Everham in the rounding out your field for heat race number 1 in the 7th spot. Should be a pretty solid field of guys here to start with. 7 cars. 7 cars, 10 laps. Top 3 to the feature. Kind of interested to see. This is our first real taste of how these guys are actually going to end up racing. First heat race of 2 tonight. So, what is your viewpoint of this, Will?
I think my viewpoint of this first race here is you want to try to get out front as fast as possible here in this first heat. I know that's kind of lackadaisical to say that's what everybody wants to do, but only 10 laps here in this feature. You want to show your stuff. You want to make sure you have the right equipment for that big race here after these heat races. You want to show it all out here. We're not going to get practice laps. Of course, these guys have been practicing. They've been qualifying. But right now, the action is going to kick off here. This is where you want to really put the pedal to the floor. Make yourself known here in this seat. So when you go into that feature, you are rocking and rolling here when the green flag flies.
Yeah, and every spot that you're going to pick up tonight is going to be 2 spots, right? So Colton Everham in that 7th spot, he makes it up to makes it 1 position up, right? He's talking that's 2 spots in the feature. So, and you can also lose 2 spots if Tyler DiVincenzo loses a spot. He goes from starting 3rd in the feature to starting 5th in the feature. So it just you don't want to go backwards for sure, right? You obviously want to stay still and not be back in the mess as Kyle Edgar on the pole did. Kyle Edgar has no worries in the world about this, right? He started on the pole. So yeah, it's just you definitely don't want to go backwards, and you want every spot you can here.
Yeah, as you see, the pace car is not going to lead them around a beautiful venue here at the LA Coliseum. One of those dream tracks that I wish to get out to one of these days. It's only been around for a year. People have mixed opinions about this track. You know, that's okay to say. It's a brand new track here on the course. I'm sure people are going to have a lot to say about the Chicago Street Race as well. But it looks like that pace car is going to take them around one more time here. We're going to go green flag racing here in the hot rod setups series here in these next gen cars. We're going to run 10 laps here in this heat, basically to set the field for that feature. As you mentioned, positions can be gained and positions can be lost here in this heat race.
Exactly. We're coming to the backstretch right here. Pace car rolling into turn 3 at a nice 25-mile-an-hour pace here. Going to come out of 3 into the Geico restart zone here.
You see right now they're going to get them revving up, but here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The green flag is in air. We're officially racing here in the Hot Rod Setups Cup Series. This is a 97. It's going to take us around corner number 1 right now. It's going to separate just a little bit down the backstretch, down into corner number 3 and 4. It's already getting tight down there in the corner. He's going to lead the first lap here. That's DiVincenzo there. I'll get his name down as the season goes along. That's a very Italian name, but the Italian is leading the way right now in that 97 down into 3 and 4 right now. It's already getting tight in that corner there, Will.
The 93's already passed the 4 of Connor James for that 2nd spot on the restart right there. The bottom line is preferred here at the quarter mile. Gonna spin out here off of 4 on the front stretch. Gonna get it moving though. No yellow. Tyler did some. As Connor James takes the 2nd spot back from Carson Nagy right there with a little bump and run.
Yeah, the 4 machine of James is trying to get around, and there goes in the 97. The 97 is around, did a 360 on the track. It's going to burn it down. A little bit of a self-proclaimed burn out there to get that thing moving once again. No caution flag on the track right now here in this heat race. As Connor James there, and that 4 machine is going to lead the way here, holding off the 93 right behind him of Nagy down into the corner right now. Even though the 97 spun there, that's not the way he wanted to have this race, but the 93 spins as well.
A lot of guys spinning out here. I don't know if it's cold tires or something on the racetrack or just guys being impatient with the throttle here. Just the leader, both laps has went around. The leader and Carson Nagy running in the 2nd spot. Connor James is able to keep the car up under a little bit better and just minimize mistakes. I mean, that's going to be a big thing all night, right? Is minimizing your mistakes, period. quarter mile track. You lose a lot of track position here. You can make it back, but you're going to be back in the middle of the hornet's nest, right? So long night if you make a mistake like that. But right now we got Connor James leading the way in that four car, with Nathan Spinks all the way up to second from starting fifth in the race.
Yeah, Nathan Spinks is making the most of his opportunity here. We saw two cars get a little loosey-goosey there, but now you see that four machine of Connor James, though, made the most of his opportunity as well. The two cars in front of him had some troubles. He went around them cleanly now, is leading the race right now as we're on the final lap of heat race number 1. Looks like it's going to be won by that four machine of Connor James as he takes the checkered flag. And as you said, well, positions can be gained, positions can be lost here on the racetrack. We saw the 97 and the 93 have issues here in that heat race. Is that going to be an indication of what we're going to see here in the future?
I sure hope not. I sure hope these guys can make the right adjustments. Like I said, these are open setup races. So maybe these guys can make the right adjustments here to their race cars and try to keep it up under them. Just not very normal, right? A bunch of guys spinning out. But we got the second heat race rolling off right here. Who we got started in this race, Will?
Yes, sir. That's a tough name here, starting on the top of the grid. That's Trayton Lapovich right there in the 32 machine is going to roll off first. Nick Ledson's going to roll off second. Jack Dixon in third. Wally Wilson, I love that name right there, is going to roll off fourth. Connor Webb in fifth. Sam King in the sixth position there in that 27 machine. And in the seventh position in the 279 is Stephen Knight. That's going to be the 7 cars here in heat number 2.
Heat number 2 is rolling off here. We're doing our pace laps, getting ready to roll, coming out of turn 2 at 20 mile an hour brisk pace, 25 mile an hour by that Mustang pace car. Hoping for a better heat number 2 here, aren't we?
Yes, sir. We saw 2 cars spin out there. Basically, the leaders of the race just had a little bit of trouble there. We're not sure if it was cold tires or not, but we're rolling through that Geico restart zone here. This is officially the start of heat race number 2 as a 20 machine with no paint scheme on there. I love that all white machine right there. It's going to take us around corner number 1, coming around corner number 3 and 4 right now, as well as a big block already on the first lap right there as the 20 machine is going to take us across the strike here on lap number 1.
Spinning on the front stretch of that 69 car, that McDonald's car, Wally Wilson just looped it around out of 4. Same deal as the first heat race. Got a little free and then got a little tiny help from Connor Webb in the back in turn. But these cars really free to start these runs off.
Yeah, and Wally would have been my sleeper pick just because I love that name of Wally Wilson, the WW there. It's like we got 2 Wills in the booth here tonight. But it looks like as far as the top of the grid goes right now, it's a little bit cleaner than what we saw in heat race number 1. These drivers are seeming to get a hold of these tires right now as the laps are starting to tick down just a little bit. Almost a little bit more free-flowing, if you will, free-falling. Shout out to Tom Petty right now. As I just mentioned that the second place car just gets sideways there on the backstretch. Just going to allow this 20 machine to basically just have just a breeze around the racetrack right now as he's running into trouble with more cars wrecking here, Will.
We got cars wrecking everywhere. We got cars wrecking into 3, wrecking into 1. Just a lot of spinning out race cars. It almost is like somebody's leaking oil onto the racetrack, putting Mario Kart banana peels down. We're free everywhere. I don't know if it's cold tires or what the deal is. Just I haven't really seen anything like this here before.
Now, as you see, the 20 machine, though, has no issues here so far, really hitting these corners pretty good right now. You don't really see any kind of looseness out of the tail end of that machine. He's going really, really high on the corner, hitting the white line with those tires as he goes around on the apex right there, down on the backstretch right now. Very, very clean seeing out of this 20 machine, even having to battle through a little bit of traffic, still really keeping it clean right now. This might be one car to watch out for that main feature.
Yeah, absolutely. Trayton's always a threat just about everywhere, but right now he looks like the biggest threat in this race, running clean laps, no real mistakes. The 20 car Trayton Lapsovich definitely getting it done in this heat race. Going to win this heat race. Get his get himself a good starting position for the feature with Jack Dixon running second there, and yeah, just wild heat races here as we go to the consolation race. Everybody in this consi race is going to make the feature, uh, 9 cars. So, but yeah, just a wild couple of heat races there. Real quick, while we're sitting here on the grid, I do want to give a shout out to the 93 car of Carson Nagy. He has won the best appearing Remembrance Day paint brought to you by Hot Rod Setup Shop. Uh, awesome deal they have for their Remembrance Day paint schemes up in Canada. It's a beautiful car, absolutely gorgeous. Nice camo, nice modern camo look for that car. Hopefully, Nagy can keep it going in the front here. He's starting P1 for this Consi race, so hopefully he can stay there.
Yeah, that's a beautiful digital camo machine right there in that 93. You saw the issues the 93 had in that heat race. You gotta think though, Will, coming into this feature, now you kind of know how these cars are gonna handle. You know you might get a little loose. The tire is gonna be very cold to start off this main feature race here. Do you think that the cars that we saw had trouble there in that first race can basically take their notes, take their homework into this feature race? We're gonna see a little bit more cleaner race.
I sure hope so, right? I hope these guys, as we got some guys pushing each other on the front straightaway already. No, I really do hope that these guys can kind of understand what went on in their heat race and really make it happen here, right? And really keep a clean race. Just make it and ride out these 15 laps for this Consi race.
Yeah, right now, as we're going to roll through this constellation race, right now, you see the 93, really strong car there in that heat race. You see the 15 is going to start to the outside right there. See the 69 McDonald's paint scheme right there. I like the number. I like the car right there. You also see the 8 machine right there as well. A few of these names we really didn't call out too much there in those feature races. Really had issues from the jump. The 93, though, was racing really strong until it had issues. But you see the 15 with a huge jump off the start right there. Has to check up a lot down into corner number 1. Makes contact briefly with the 93. So the 93 is going to take us down the backstretch down into corner number 3 and 4. Right now, across that start-finish line is going to lead. Lap number 1 now starting to separate just a little bit, but you saw a bit of a wiggle there, Will. Already starting to get a little loose on the track.
As the 15 car of Nick Lidson go down, I think you just answered your own question there. It's going to put the 69 car of Wally Wilson to second, right behind the 93 of Carson Nagy. Carson learned a lot from his heat race, it seems. He's taking a little bit different approach to the line, trying to keep that wheel straight. We're spinning all over the racetrack still. The 93 Carson Nagy obviously learned keeping a good straight line as he laps the 15 of Nick Lidson. Wally Wilson the same way. Obviously has learned from the heat race, trying to be a little more gentle with it. The rear end of the car is not really stepping out as much. Trying to keep the wheel as straight as humanly possible and exit. And obviously they do learn. they're making some progress there as Nick Lidson goes to third. It's going to put him in the feature in a little bit better starting spot. We got Connor Ellis running fourth as well. So hopefully these guys will just ride out these 15 laps, learn what they're going to need for the feature. And, a lot of early mistakes here costing a lot of guys some starting spots. One little fact that I do want to bring up for the feature, we're going to have a 10-car invert for the feature. So whoever was 10th at the end of their heat race is going to be on the pole, and Kyle Edgar is going to be starting 10th. So rough deal if you qualify on the pole for sure, but makes for a difficult race, and it's going to be exciting for us to watch for sure.
Very interesting there. I haven't seen an inversion for a while. Even in the real life NASCAR series, they don't even invert the fields anymore. Used to do that in the All-Star races. They used to invert the fields. Although maybe I've missed an All-Star race. I haven't believed they haven't done that for a while. But you see right there, Will, the 93 has a bit of an issue there on that backstretch. Watch that in that future race. You see him coming off of 1 and 2 right there. Something about that transition coming. Yeah, you see right. Yeah, just as I'm talking about it, he gets totally sideways off of corner number 2. He's going to lose position right there to the 69 of Wilson. You saw that 93 starting to wiggle just a little bit off the exit of 2. Watch out for that in that feature to see if that problem persists in that 93, or if it's a problem that he can conquer.
But just remember, we're going to add more cars for the feature as well. We're going to start the most cars we started on ice. So not only are you going to have that rough transition of trying to get the car turned to really loose all of a sudden, you're also going to have that while you're too wide. or why you're potentially 3 wide, or you're in a pack, right? So there's going to be guys in front of you, guys behind you. It's going to be really interesting to see if these guys can really get a handle on that transition of center to exit.
Yeah, that's going to be a big factor to watch out for. But it looks like a lot of drivers have issues on the exit of 2, as now the 93 is going to give the 8 just a little bit of a love tap going around. They're already clashing here at the Coliseum right there, as the 8 machine of Naps down there in the 5th spot, about 5 laps down. But as you mentioned, Will, a lot of these drivers are just going to basically coast through this consolation race. They're all going to make that feature race. This is more about a little bit of a study session, if you will. You get to know your race car. You get to know this track a little bit better. It's a fairly new track for a lot of these drivers. Not a track that everybody really loves to go to. You know, a lot of the series that these drivers might race in outside of the Hot Rod Setup Cup Series here, they don't really go to this track very much. You know, it's always the traditional tracks, the Talladegas, the Daytonas, the Charlottes. You know, you might even hit a road course, but this track is very, very new to a lot of these drivers.
It definitely is. If you're anything like me, you avoid this place like the plague any chance you get. Not because I don't like quarter mile racing, just because of multiple different factors other than that. But yeah, this car track combination for a lot of these guys, this style of racing is a lot different for some of these guys as well. Especially in these next gen Cup cars that don't, like I said at the top of the show, never see this type of racetrack other than once a year. As we're going to grid 4, our main feature.
Yeah, let's get it rocking and rolling here, ladies and gentlemen. We are live here on Maconi Entertainment. This is the starting grid for the Hot Rod Setup Cup Series main feature event here at the Coliseum. We'll start off with our first place position here. Nick Ledson in the 15 machine. Carson Nagy in the 83 or 93 is going to start off second right there. You saw the issues he had right there in those heat races. Wally Wilson's going to roll off third there in that Toyota 69. Fourth is going to be Connor Webb in that 129 machine. Fifth is going to be Tyler DiVenzero right there in that 97. I'll get that name down pat here as we go along. Jack Dixon's going to roll off sixth in that 07 machine, looking like James Bond out there in that 007. Nick Spinks is going to roll off in the 7th position. Trayton Lapovich is going to roll off 8th. Connor James in 9th. Kyle Egger in 10th. And to round out our field here tonight, Justin Knapp in 11th and Connor Ellis in 12th. And we'll see you right
behind this beautiful Mustang pace car. I love the Mustang more than more than the new sedan pace car for sure. Is I know a lot of people will agree. The original OG pace car rolling around this place at 25 miles an hour. This 25-mile-an-hour pace speed, by the way, is brutal around this place. As you're trying to get ready to roll. Yeah, I'm hoping these guys have learned from their heat races for sure. A lot of cars out here at one time. Just really hoping for the best possible clean race. As we're going to start rolling towards that Geico restart zone. Take it away.
Here we go. We're ready to rock and roll here as the 15 machine is going to take us across that checkered flag, or the checkered line right there. We're going to start off the season here in the Hot Rod Setups Cup Series. We're officially rocking and rolling here to start off this regular season, as the 15 machine is going to take us down to 3 and 4. Officially going to lead the first lap here in the season, which you see that 93 machine already making a move. 69s right there, as well as they're already beating and banging here on lap number 2.
Typical short track Saturday night right here as they make a big deal about 69 into the 15 again into turn 3. And the 15 retaliates, getting loose, hitting the 69. Yellow flag is out on the racetrack. The 69 is using the 15 up for a solid lap there, and the 15 just breaking free, coming out and door checking and really and into the inside concrete barrier.
Yeah, and this is something we mentioned to start off this broadcast here tonight, whether or not we're going to see those cautions rain down here at the Coliseum. They're already starting to rain down. We're only 3 laps into this race here tonight. We have our first caution of the night. I'm sure we're going to see a bunch more here as this race ticks along here. But after watching those heat races, Will, you know, I asked you before we started those heat races what names stood out to you. After watching those heat races, though, are there any changes in your predictions here tonight? Or are there some drivers that maybe stood out a little bit more to you after those first 2 heat races?
As much as I'd like to say yes, no, not at all. It's really the same guys that were able to keep control of the race car. Some guys that I was kind of I'm not gonna say disappointed is the word, but kind of wowed at that they made the early mistakes that they did, made them and continued to make the mistakes that they did throughout the heat race. Just mistakes that you typically don't see out of those kind of guys, and just really weird for the heat races is really all I can say. But no, not really. Trayton Lapsovich has already made up spots on the green. Kyle Edgar's already made up spots as soon as the green come out. Just in that short little run we had, guys like that. Carson Nagy's still leading. Tyler Deesa, mind blank. Sorry, guys.
Very
But the
Italian.
97, yeah, the 97 car of Tyler DiSavento is still in second. So I guess it's like a tongue twister. I can't say anymore. I guess I've known Tyler for a long time, and I can't even say his name anymore.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna go, Tyler. We're sorry about your last name there, man. We might just go by that first name, but if you lead this race as much as we think you are gonna lead there in that 97 machine, we'll get that name down pat. As now we're cruising through that Geico restart zone as the 93 of Nagy's gonna take us across the line here. We're racing here under green as the 93 of Nagy's gonna take us down into corner number 1.
Really late start for the 93 there, the black flag, the 97, which was really rescinded from as we're wrecking down into turn 3 again. Yellow not out quite yet. Yellow is now out. Just a little bit of a bumper thrown right there, Will.
Yeah, that looked just a little bit of a checkup there, and everybody just seemed to stack up like LA traffic down there in 3 and 4. Everybody was bumper to bumper, and there was really nowhere to go. You know, sometimes I call modified series. We go to short tracks in those modifieds. It's really technical to have to pass. I'm going to watch a bit of a replay here to see what happened. Yeah, it was just checking up, going down in the corner. The 22 machine saw that happen as well right there. And you just had calamity after that. I mean, everybody just seemed to check up. But talking about modifieds there, you know, very technical. It's very hard to pass. It's open wheel concept. But here in these next gen cars, this is almost, I would say it's the shortest of the short tracks these cup cars are going to run. You're going to see a lot of that here tonight.
No, absolutely. I mean, you're going to, I kind of figured we were going to see some doors, see some bumpers. Obviously not to this caliber early. It's a 150 lap race, and this is kind of early as Kyle Edgar is going to be sent to the end of the line for that wreck. But kind of early in my opinion to be running some guys over and throwing those bumpers and making people mad right now. But yeah, we definitely figured this was going to happen. When you take stock cars to short ovals like this, you're going to have doors, you're going to have fenders, you're going to be changing some body parts after the race.
You're going to get out the duct tape and the hammers. You're going to beat that thing back to racing shape here, as now you're already starting to see some cars spin out under caution. So that just goes to show these drivers are still trying to get a hang of this track here tonight. And Will, you mentioned it here. A lot of these drivers avoid this track like the plague. You know, probably just like yourself there. It's not everybody's favorite track here, but it feels like a track that if you get out into the open air and you can lead enough laps, you can really count them down. You can win this race with ease.
Definitely, it's like any other quarter mile, really, in that aspect. If you can run clean green flag laps, you'll count them down, and one after another, you'll run out of time pretty quick. It's do or die basically every lap, but just kind of rough when you're running under yellow like this. Obviously, you can't pass, you can't make up any positions, and you're just kind of riding around this quarter mile racetrack at a 30-second lap, one that you should normally be doing it in 14. So. Yeah, but definitely, if they get going green, you'll see 150 laps go really fast.
And now we're just about to go green here once again as the pace lights are off of that beautiful Ford Mustang here leading the field. We're around that Geico restart zone now as the 93 machine of Nagy is going to take us across the line down into corner number 1 as a 97 of Tyler right there as well, but Tyler gets squeezed up the racetrack. The 93 of Nagy is going to take us down into 3 and 4, still our race leader across the stripe.
Carson Nagy is your race leader coming to the stripe with Connor Rebb in tow, running in that second position with Connor James in third. Got a little bit of spin. Kyle Egger out here out of 4. Gonna see if everybody gets it collected. Yellow is out again on the racetrack as we're spinning still on the front straightaway. I do believe that was the second place car of Connor Webb. It was Connor Webb losing that second position out of 4.
And you saw a big push from that 129 machine of Connor Webb. as mentioned, a few of the names that we didn't call out there during those heat races or the consolation race, but Connor's really trying to show out here in this feature. Got all the way up to the second position and just ran into trouble when we had that car spinning on the front stretch. But you see that 129 is now going to be able to back. It looks like there. No, it's going to be in the round. We're looking at around the ninth position right now, right there for Connor. Will, I don't think we've completed maybe a full 2 laps, 3 laps so far here tonight. Maybe we're just going for the biggest green flag run of the night here next time we go green.
I sure hope so. I do want to see what these guys do when they go out to green flag racing. Obviously, a quarter mile racing, in my opinion, quarter mile, 3/8 mile racing, done right is some of the best racing to watch you'll ever see. When it's done right, you got guys throwing doors and keeping it clean and green, right? And it's some of the best racing you'll see. Obviously, we're not doing that right now. It can still happen. We still have a lot of laps to make that happen, and I'm really hoping it does happen. I do like seeing good racing. The Clash earlier this year for the Cup Series was a really good race to watch, and that's kind of what I was hoping for tonight. And it's not happening yet, but it's still early, so we're only 20 laps in. I know we've ran most of them under yellow, all but 4 or 5, but we can definitely still recover from this and still make a good show.
Yeah, and I'll ask you to, Will, as a driver's point of view, are you getting frustrated at this pace here tonight? Are you just waiting for that green flag run to be able to show your stuff? Because I feel like it could be like a mixed bag. You're tired of the cautions coming out, you're tired of the car stacking up. But then again, you're almost okay with it if you're the leader. Go ahead and count these laps down under yellow. Go ahead and count them down. That way when we go green, I have less laps to lead at the top of the grid.
As a driver, I'm going to tell you running laps under yellow is never fun. I don't care if you're in the lead or if you're running last. It definitely is worse if you're Kyle Edgar running in the back, trying to get back up to the front, just because you have no way to do that under yellow. As the pace car's going to duck off here out of 4, we're going to go towards the Geico restart zone.
Yeah, here we go. As a 93 of Nagy's going to take us across the line. The green flag waves once again with a huge restart out of the 93 of Nagy's. Going to take us around corner number 1 and 2. Down the backstretch right there as Webb. He's right back there in that 129 machine. Trying to really show his stuff here in this main feature event. Gets a little loose off of 4 right there. Has James right there in that 4 machine pushing him just a little bit. The 4 had to check up. Lose a little speed though. As Nagy's going to take us around 3 and 4 right now across this strike here. We're about 3 laps into this green flag run, Will. Let's see if we can hold this pace.
Spun car right here at 2 on the backstretch. I think he's going to get it running. Is again the second place car of Connor James. Second place is just cursed. I'm telling you, Connor James getting loose again out of 4. He got loose out of 2. Lost it completely out of 4 as Carson Nagy still leads. Trey Lapsovich has put him up to that 3rd spot right now. Started very deep in this field, just winding them down. Connor James running that 2nd spot. Excuse me, it was Connor Webb that just completely lost it out of 4. Just about lost it out of 2, finished it off out of 4. Connor Webb having a rough day. Nagy still has the lead. Connor James is still running 2nd, and Trey Lapsovich is running him down.
Yeah, Connor Webb looked like he was going to take a rally cross shortcut through the track right there as he was in the infield, I guess you can call it there here at the Coliseum. But right now the race is still being led by the 93 of Nagy. With those names that we mentioned, though, in those heat races to watch out for, Lapovich and Tyler there in that 97 machine have now found their place on that grid. 3 and 4 right now. We have 123 laps to go. Still a lot of racing to go here on Maconi Entertainment. We are live on Twitch right now. This is the first race of the season here in the Hot Rod Setup Cup Series. We're excited to be here. My name is William Tiller. I am joined by William Hale. We have the 2 Williams in the booth here tonight. Right now, we've had a calamity heat races. We had the consolation race as well. Bit of a caution fest here in the main event. But Will, this action seems to be picking up. The drivers are getting a little bit more comfortable here as now we have reached our longest green flag run of the race.
We've kind of all settled in. The 20th Trey Lapsovich has caught the 4 of Connor James. Little free out of 2 there. He's still on his bumper. Going to get back to him here, I think, pretty quick. Carson Nagy's already hit lap traffic in this green flag run. Knock them down one at a time, running good laps. He learned from his mistakes in the heat race and the consi, running clean green laps right here. Tyler DiVincenzo is running that 4th spot. trying to get to the back of Trayton Lapsovich one lap at a time. Really, right now, you're going to do it a quarter mile is go one lap at a time, one lap at a time, one lap at a time, and you're going to go off. 150 laps is not that long around a quarter mile racetrack, right? The laps are definitely going to click off fast. Trayton Lapsovich is still trying to get to the back of that 4 car. Yellow out of 4 here. Got the 48 around in the middle of the front stretch. Ooh, and the 20 into the side of the 48. Rough deal out of 4 there, Will.
Yeah, that was tough right there. I think I may have put the commentator's curse on that just a little bit there, Will. As I mentioned, that was our longest green flag run of the race. One concept that I was thinking about, though, as we were under green, for Nagy in that 93 machine, right? So we watched the first 2 heats. The 93 struggled in the heat, right? Was up to about second or third, had some issues there. Went to the consolation race, ran another 10 laps there in that consolation race. So you're going to think, though, the 93 machine, even though he struggled there in that first heat, got to run the consolation race as well. So you think about that 93 technically got 20 laps of practice on the racetrack with other cars, whereas some of these other drivers only got 10 laps, or if they ran in the consolation race, also got 20 laps as well. But we saw what that 93 did. Ran really strong in the heat, had an issue. Went to the consolation race, really didn't have any issues there in the consolation race, ran really strong as well. Now you see what the 93 is doing here in this feature race, really laying it down, did his homework, if you will, in those 20 laps he ran.
No, he definitely did. That's one thing that he did find was the limit multiple times. He found where that limit was, and he's dialed it back a lot and just running smooth, clean laps. And that's what I think will win you this race, is by running smooth, clean, methodical laps. It's like any other race in the world, right? Everybody thinks you just blow and go at a quarter mile and you just go as hard as you can and move who you get to and everything else. There is a method to the madness, so to speak, here, and you have to run those methodical laps, and that's what Carson Nagy's doing. He's catching lap traffic. He's waiting for the spot to pass him. That's what he was doing in that green flag run, and it was beautiful to watch the growth from the heat race to the feature. Is he just pulled away from the guys behind him, really?
Yeah, do you think that could have been an advantage running more laps than per se, winners of the heat races on track right now? Because you see what's happening right now. A lot of these drivers are getting loose, still trying to figure the cars out, whereas Carson had 20 laps to figure the car out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he definitely learned a lot more than everybody else in race conditions. As we're about to go green here, coming to the Geico restart zone, the 93 is going to take it in the box, and we're firing off. 93 is fired with the 4 of Connor James and the 20 of Trayton Lapsovich right behind him here, going off into 1, going down the backstretch here, Will.
Yeah, going down the backstretch down into 3 and 4 right now. Connor Nagy in that 93 is going to take us down into the corner. It's already getting tight behind him as we have a 3-car race here at the top of the grid. The 93 of Nagy, the 4 of James, and the 32 of Lapsovich. But you see right now the 32 is to the inside of James right there as the 4 machine goes high on the racetrack right now, as Lapsovich is going to take 1 away from James right there on the 4. Now has the 93 in his sights down the backstretch right now down into 3 and 4. The 32 of Lapsovich is trying to make a move on Nagy right now, has that draft starting to reel him in just a little bit as we head down the backstretch.
We're watching the battle for the lead here. The 20 of Trayton Lapsovich started deep in this field, has made his way through even with all the yellows. On the back of that 93 of Carson Nagy right now, going to try to find a clean way past him. Got by the 4 really clean. Gets a good run off of 2, a little free up into 3. Little tag to the left rear of the 93. No harm, no foul. Going to keep rolling hard on the brakes for the 20. Clean racing up front right now. Guys just turning laps, like I said, just trying to turn laps, and mostly single file through the field, 15 passing the lap car. Nothing too major right now. The 20 of Trayton Lapsovich is trying to run down that 93 with and Connor James trying to hold on to that 3rd spot from Kyle Edgar. Kyle Edgar with that early EOL back up through the field to the back of the 4 car.
Yeah, and you see the 4 cars trying to really keep pace there with Lapsovich and Nagy in that 93, but you see what's going on right behind him, though, as he has a lapped car in the mix right there trying to dig for positions. But you see right there the 4 machines. What you're starting to see is a little bit of that tail wiggling a little bit, Will. We saw it out of the 32 of Lapsovich when he's trying to chase down Nagy. That tail is starting to wiggle just a little bit. One machine I'm not seeing it out of is that leader of the 93 of Nagy. Maybe he did something. Maybe he figured out how to take these corners just right. Not seeing that tail wiggle anymore here tonight. As you now see, the 4 machine of James is still trying to keep that position on the racetrack, doing everything he can. As now we cross the line here with 101 laps to go, almost to that century mark right now as we're heading down to 3 and 4.
47 of Kyle Edgar right on the bumper of that 4-car. Connor James trying to find a clean way around him on this racetrack is going to be a very difficult job. But we've seen how free these cars are. One little tap could send the 4 around, and you're going right back to the back here. As he gets off in the corner, a little clicks it off in the 3, gets in the back of the 4-car. Big damage on the 4-car. Got a little tagged in the front, but yeah, like I said, he was trying to find a clean way. Just really hard to do at this racetrack, trying to make a clean pass.
And we saw right there with Connor James, but look at our leader right there. Carson Nagy was also sideways on the racetrack. So big developments here at the Coliseum, but we are under caution here once again with 98 laps to go. We'll take another look at what happened to our race leader. Carson Nagy gets loose all by himself on the exit of 4 right there, Will. But ladies and gentlemen, with 98 laps to go, we will step aside for our first break of the evening here. We'll go right back here on Maconi Entertainment for more live action from the Coliseum. We are back here live on Maconi Entertainment from the LA Coliseum. And Will, it's been a bit of a caution fest here at the Clash at the Coliseum here in the Hot Rod Setups Cup Series. It's the first race of the season for these drivers. A frustrating one, to say the least.
It's definitely been a kind of a tough night for this first night of the Hot Rod Setups Cup Series. It's Bowman Gray, baby. It's Bowman Gray 2.0 here at the LA Coliseum, and it is not going right. Things aren't meshing. Things aren't going together. These guys are out here doing the best they can and driving as hard as they can, trying to make up spots. Just really tight corners, right? And like we've talked about multiple times, some of these guys, and really a lot of these guys, aren't used to this in these big cup cars. Obviously, the cup cars really weren't built with the idea of going to a quarter mile originally, so they're a little difficult to really work around. Maybe the sight lines aren't there. Maybe for some guys, the putting the power down isn't there. It's just different driving styles that maybe just aren't suited to a quarter mile, right? It's an oddball track that you see these types of things sometimes.
Yeah, it's a very oddball track to say the least right here at the Coliseum. Only debuted last year, won by the future champion Joey Logano. He won the championship this year, capped it off with a win to start the season at the Clash. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Lapovich is going to take this green flag as we're back green flag racing here in the Hot Rod Setups Cup Series here live on Maconi Entertainment. As now Lapovich is going to take us down into 3 and 4 as our race leader. You saw him battling for positions there, trying to hold on, as now our second place car is getting a little sideways as well. Looks like everybody's hitting little patches of ice here at the Coliseum.
Been like that all night. I don't know if they put baby powder down on this racetrack or what. It's the slick tracks at the go-karts. You guys remember, as we're wrecking on the front stretch, the 15 car around into the outside wall. Nick Ledson in our leader, Trayton Lemsovich, also around here on the back straightaway. As we were talking about how slick it was out here, like it's baby powder and ice. Cars around on both ends of the racetrack.
Oh, yeah, as you see, Trayton was trying to save it there just a little bit there in that 32 machine. He gets sideways as well. Everybody's just sliding around here at the Coliseum. We'll see. I think our longest green flag run of the night there, Will, was maybe, I'm a guesstimate there, of about 5 or 6 laps under green. Then the caution flag flew once again. What do you think could be the issue here tonight? Do you think maybe it's a bit of the car setups, or do you think it's maybe the drivers could be a little anxious here tonight, seeing as though it's the first race of the season here in the Hot Rod Setups Cup Series? These drivers just want to go. They want to let those horses gallop, if you will. But this is just the track that you can't really let these cars fly.
Yeah, I think that's some of it, right? There's a lot of anticipation that goes into starting a new season. These guys are really antsy and really ready to go, and you put these guys in a tight little quarter-mile bull ring and say have fun. It's gonna happen. You're gonna have these types of things, like I said earlier, and it's just, I don't know if it's the car. I don't know if it's just different driving styles. It's really hard to say, but definitely an interesting night to say the least.
Yeah, very interesting indeed. But once again, we want to thank everybody for tuning in here at Maconi Entertainment. We are live on Twitch right now. Again, this is the first race of the season here for this series. We're going to be more excited to be bringing you this live action from the Coliseum. Again, we want to thank our title sponsor here of the entire series, Hot Rod Setups. We invite you to go check them out on Facebook or Discord to find out more information about our title sponsor of this entire series. We want to thank them for all what they do here in this series. Again, we want to thank all of our other sponsors here, but we'll get to that in just a second, as it looks like the pace car is going to roll across the line here one more time. Again, I'm Will Tiller. I am joined by William Hale, the two Wills up here in the booth, if you will. Hey, look at that. I tied it just right there, Will.
Yeah, great timing, Will. Now, if you will, let's get back to green flag racing and hopefully have a long green flag run here. I'm getting a little antsy up here myself, watching some yellow flag laps, waiting on something good to happen.
Yeah, when there's a will, there's a way, and let's make way for some green flag racing right now, as Edgar is going to take that green flag down into corner number one. A great restart from our leader there down the backstretch right now. Look at that beautiful camera angle right there, brought to you by Dougie Beard. These camera angles couldn't be any more spectacular here at the Coliseum, as our leader there in the 47 machine of Edgar still leading the way. There's got Tyler in that 97. Creeping up behind him, though, in that Sharpie machine, trying to get that lead back to where he was most comfortable up there. Got a lot of speed behind him as well. Getting a little entangled there for that third position, though, Will. We might see another caution here, as you now see the 93 of Nagy getting a little tap from that 4.
Little tap was an understatement right there. The 93 was all but wrecked. As we're going back to the field here, Carson Nagy, Connor James trying to make their way back up through the field. Trayton Lapsovich, after his spin, already back up to P4. Got Wally Wilson. We talked about him in the heat race. He's another guy that learned from his mistakes in the heat races, running in the third spot. Now, our old pal Tyler DiVincenzo running the second spot in that Sharpie Kurt Busch car, that Rubbermaid, excuse me, looking beautiful as ever. And Kyle Edgar, another guy, has been in the very back of this race, now up here leading this race. A long way to go. Made a lot of good passes up through the field. As he gets a little sideways off of 4 there in that Pennzoil machine. Again, a lot of these cars sideways tonight.
Yeah, and you see that 69 of Wally's getting all that he can handle right there. Wally's trying to hold on to that position right there. As the Alabama Shakes once said, you got to hold on to that spot, as he's getting a big push from Lapovich right there, trying to get around Wally there. He might have him, though, on 3 and 4 coming around the apex right there, as Lapovich is going to overtake Wally Wilson at 69. But Wally said, hold up, wait a minute, I want that spot right back, as Wally's now trying to push him along down into 3 and 4. He's going to lose a little bit of speed, though, as now Lapovich is going to get loose off of 4, but he's going to clear Wally for just a little bit.
Lapsovich getting back clear for that third position. Now he sets his sights on the 97 of Tyler DiVincenzo in that Rubbermaid Ford. Lapsovich back up to the pack, said, nope, this is my spot, let me have it. Moved Wally Wilson, that McDonald's machine, out of the way, and it's setting sail forward. Meanwhile, Kyle Edgar's got a little gap to Tyler back here. Gonna catch the tail end of the field, which is Jack Ditson in that 07 car. Having kind of a rough night, been a little bit of damage. Just trying to ride it out, I think, from right here, trying to save himself for the next race. Kyle Edgar going to catch the end of the lap traffic here. We got a little bit of a race back here for, I believe that's the 6th spot with Connor James, trying to fend off that 15 car.
Yeah, and what I loved about that shot that we just took with Lapovich there, maybe we can ride on board with Connor James there in that Ford machine. One thing I want to let everybody at home know, these guys are racing with setups, whether it's an expensive setup, a cheap setup, or just a desk with a wheel on it. One thing I want to point out is the amount of wheel movement that you have to have here at the Coliseum, right? So you got that thing, a full 90-degree angle around the corners, and we're going to ride on board with Connor here, see if he has little bit, and you see right there how much you have to work that wheel. When you come off of there, Will, if that thing gets a little loose, you have to work that wheel as much as you can, and you have about, I would say about a second and a half, 2 seconds to think about it to make that move on the wheel, or else you're gonna get sideways.
No, you definitely do, and you bring up a good point by watching Connor James. You have to get that wheel pointed straight to come off the corner, or as straight as you possibly can, and put the power down as much as you can, but make sure your wheel movement coming back to the right, and you're putting your power down or of equal value, right? As you're putting the power down, move your wheel back to the right. One thing I am noticing that Kyle Egger does when he's not in traffic, he's up here leading this race. He takes a little bit of a wider arc than everybody else on entry. Trayton Lasovich was also doing this, but he enters kind of in that top of the first groove, comes off, tries to diamond the corner off, and stays straight on exit. You'll see a lot of the fast guys trying that. Tyler DiCimenzo, Trayton Lasovich, all trying to diamond that corner as much as possible. We got a spinner out of 2 here, right in front of the leader. Is going to get really tight off of 2. Is Trayton Lasovich dives on the inside of the 97 car for the second spot. Going to take it with these. The 97 car got a little free out of 2. And Trayton said, "Thank you very much,
Oof.
sir."
And you see that big push right there, the 47 put on the 93 of Nagy. Now the 93 of Nagy's really just trying to make pace here tonight at the Coliseum, as now we're under caution here once again with 65 laps to go. I'm really impressed though, Will, by the speed of Lapovich there. We've seen him really have the battle here tonight, working up through the grid. He's overtaken positions on the racetrack cleanly, hasn't really had to worry about getting in trouble. He hasn't really spun anybody either right now. Lapovich, I would say, is one driver that's standing out to me. Although he's not on the top of the grid, he hasn't really raced for the lead yet here tonight. He's doing a great job, as now we're going to get our first pit stops of the season here in the Hot Rod Setups Cup Series.
We are all your leaders coming out here. Kyle Egger going to win the race off of pit road. Trayton Lapsovich going to come in that second spot. Same order you come off, you come back in. Really, some guys taking tires, some guys taking just fuel. Second group's coming down right now of your guys off the lead lap. But yeah, we're seeing a lot of action, but we're seeing a lot of avoidance as well. Where most of your actions coming from trying not to run over the guy in front of you. I'm not. We've talked about this all race, and we're kind of beating that dead horse right now. Of, well, why is this happening, right? And I don't think either of us really have an answer, do we, Will?
No, I don't think so. You're not really seeing. One point I want to point out, although the caution flags have been flying here tonight, the leaders, I would say, have done a great job of keeping those machines as clean as possible. You've seen a bit of a wiggle out of some of the guys. I think majority of our cautions here tonight come from guys really are trying to get onto the gas a little bit harder than what they're used to here at the Coliseum. Maybe they're used to other short tracks. This track is about the shortest track you're going to see. And then other instances where you're in traffic, it's getting a little bit more boxed up there on the corners. You really have nowhere to go. You hit somebody in that rear end, they get loose in front of you. That causes calamity behind you. So if one domino fall, they all fall. And every action has a reaction, and that reaction here tonight has been that yellow flag flying a lot here at the Coliseum.
It's definitely Barney the Flagman's been really busy up there in the flag tower tonight. As we see the lucky dog go by. There should be one to green here at the line. Pace car's going to make one more lap around this racetrack. Yeah, it's just put a blanket of yellow underneath the racetrack tonight. That's really what we've ran under, and as we get delayed again. You kind of expect that at a quarter mile. You expect to run some yellow flag laps. I don't think either of us expected this. We were really excited for a really clean race for the most part, but it's all good. It's okay. It still looks good, and like I said, the guys that we picked out earlier to run good have rose to the top. As Kyle Edgar has went to the back. Appears he's going to have to start in the back, maybe a pit road violation.
Yeah, the 93 of Nagy, who raced really strong to start off this race. So I'll try to have the battle here as we're under green, or those green flag runs that we had. Really had to battle, hasn't really got back up to where he wants to be there in that 93 machine. Right now is in the 5th position. But in that spot, though, you're in a tricky spot. You're almost in the jungle, if you will. You have to fight through it there. Shout out to that paint scheme there for Remembrance Day. You have to really fight through the field to get back up to where you want to. And Lapovich has done that. He's going to take this green flag going down into corner number 1 as our race leader. And he has clashed his way to the top of the grid here tonight at the Coliseum. Looking like a Trojan horse right at the top of the grid. Shout out to USC Trojans as he's leading the race here, clearing that 97 machine. And you spoke about it just a little bit there, Will. If you can get out to that open air, you can really run any line that you prefer. You don't really have to worry about somebody to your inside or outside. You can run any line on the racetrack, and you see it right there as Lapovich gets loose off of 2.
You can still do that. You can still break free and cost yourself a lot of time as he gets free again off of 4, trying to recover from that. Everybody a little free. Tires a little cold after the yellow, trying to get back up. Kyle Edgar all the way back to that 6th position after going to the back for a pit road violation. Lapsovich really should say see you here. He's got the best car. He's probably the fastest one on the racetrack at any given time tonight. Should go as Wally Wilson gets free off of 2 there, fighting with Connor James for that 3rd position. Really in defense mode. He gets loose again. All 4 saves it. 45 degrees sideways. Is Kyle Edgar in the inside wall? Going to keep it rolling here, clean and green. Yellow is now out for.
Whoa! As more action
spins out Wally Wilson after the yellow. Not really sure what that was about, but yeah, under yellow again nonetheless.
He must have got some cold fries from McDonald's and saw that paint scheme and said, I don't like you, and dumped Wally Wilson there based on those cold fries. As Wally Wilson, though, in that 69 has done a great job of keeping that car inside of the top 3, top 4, through all the calamity, through all the chaos here tonight. Wally has done a great job of keeping that 69 on pace here tonight.
Kyle Edgar turns the 93 of Carson Nagy, right rear hooks him under yellow. I hate to interrupt you there, Will, but just come out and flat retaliated for that contact out of 4 on the front straightaway. Uncalled for sure.
We might see a little bit of a Bubba Wallace, Kyle Larson situation we got going on here. And folks, you have to remember this is the very, very first race of the season here in the Hot Rod Setups Cup Series. So watch out here as we hit more races in this series. If these rivalries really carry over, if they tend to bubble over, as now you see Edgar is going to give the 93 of Nagy a few more love taps here under caution. This thing is brewing out of control here at the Coliseum.
Kyle Edgar has been parked from the race, or more or less voluntold to leave. Kyle Edgar is out of here for his retaliation. Well, one last thing to talk about. Just some contact out of 4. Kyle Edgar still had a really fast race car. Didn't look like any major damage. I don't think he got the wall really hard at all. One of the fastest cars of the race. I'm not really sure what the thought process was there, other than trying to wreck the 93 for getting free and really dooring him. But to be fair, the 93 did wreck the 69 for stale fries. So maybe Kyle Edgar just said his fries were hot, instead.
They forgot a nugget in his 10-piece. He only got 9 when he wanted 10 nuggets in his McNugget meal there. Right now, as we're looking like we're going to go green flag racing here once again, as Lapovich, we've called his name out a few times here tonight. It's going to take us across the line. Looks like the pace lights are still on of that pace car right now here at the Coliseum. We've got 47 laps to go here on Maconi Entertainment. We are live on Twitch. Again, I am Will Tiller, joined by my co-host of the evening, Will Hale, the 2 Wills in the booth. Our main man, Eddie Smith, is on the decks here, bringing you all these awesome shots of this race here tonight at the Coliseum. Cannot wait to go green flag racing here once again, as Lapovich, he's been the top dog here tonight. Once you get on top of the grid, he has held down that position there at the top. But here we go as we go down into corner number 3 and 4. That pace car is peeling off. We are cruising up to that Geico restart zone. The green flag is in the air once again as Lapovich is going to take us down to corner number 1.
Just with about a car to a 2-car length advantage down the backstretch here over the 97 car. Put the second through fourth under a blanket right here, running second, third, and fourth, and all in line. Next car to them is going to be the 8 car. Make it the 69 car of Wally Wilson, about 20-ish back. So all the battle really is for second here, is the 4 of Connor James is trying to run down the 97 of Tyler. Tyler.
Yeah, and you see Tyler right there in the 97. He's a bit of a wiggle down the backstretch right there. That's going to open the door for the 4 machine of James. You see the 93 and Nagy's right there as well. And you talked about there the retaliation of Edgar to the 93 of Nagy, as we're going to ride on board right here with Connor James as he's squeezing his way around Tyler there in that 97 here with 42 laps to go. These drivers know that these laps are ticking out, but the 93 of Nagy, what I was just talking about there, is now spun out once again here on the racetrack.
Connor James is also around out of turn 2 there. Leaders are coming around this racetrack right now with Trayton Lapsovich coming right there. Before Connor James gassed it up right in front of Trayton Lapsovich. It causes this yellow. Not really sure what the 4 of Connor James was thinking. They're coming right up in front of the leader. And other than just bring out the yellow, you could have caused a lot of damage there for sure.
Yeah, this has been a crazy race here tonight. Almost a race that a lot of the drivers wish they could run in their regular leagues or regular series. It's sort of like a free-for-all race here. Shout out to the new Call of Duty out there. It's every driver for themselves out here tonight. Everybody's beating and banging each other. It doesn't matter if you're the leader. It doesn't matter if you're a few laps down or not. We've seen retaliation on the racetrack as well from incidences. But here with 38 laps to go, we're going to step aside for our second break of the evening. We'll be right back with more live action from the Coliseum here on Maconi Entertainment. We are back live here on Maconi Entertainment from the LA Coliseum. And Will, we were speaking on break there what the pace car name should be here tonight, because he's ran just as many laps as our drivers have here tonight.
Absolutely. We have Barney the Flagman. So I mean, what should we call the pace car driver? We are in the Hot Rod Cup Series tonight. We can call him Hot Rod. I mean, he has led the most laps tonight after all. But you know, I mean, nobody's ever mentioned that before, right? We got Barney the Flagman, and I've never even thought about it until just now. I mean, they're a dynamic duo. They go together everywhere.
That's true. I'm thinking maybe Paul, the pace car driver, or something like that, to go with Barney, the flag man, here tonight. But as these caution flags have been raining down, you know, Lapovich has really led the most laps. I would have to say there in that 32 machine. Really held it down, kept that car clean. Although we've seen wiggles out of other drivers, that 32 machine of Lapovich has really seemed to have figured it out as we see more cars really stacking up here under caution. But as we have this break here under caution, I think we're going to run one more lap under this yellow. We want to thank all of our sponsors here tonight. Of course, Hot Rod Setups for being our title sponsor here of this Cup Series. Reach out to Hot Rod Setups on Facebook or Discord. Also, our series partners, Tam Livery and JP Alfonso Studios. You saw that wonderful commercial we just showed there on break. So we want to thank all of those series partners and sponsors here on Maconi Entertainment for bringing us all this live action here tonight. We couldn't be more excited to kick off the season here at the Coliseum. And I'm sure these drivers are excited to go back here. Green flag racing as we're going to cruise through that Geico restart zone as Lapovich is going to take that green flag. Looks like he's having a bit of a trouble to get that thing going, but he's going to take us down to corner number 1 as our race leader down the backstretch.
Carson Nagy with a very aggressive move down the inside of Wally Wilson. Doesn't pay off quite yet, doesn't quite get there and get to the inside of Wally Wilson, but definitely made up some positions, cleared the 4 car. It was restart on the outside, cleared him now up to the fourth position for Carson Nagy. Uh, Cold Fries McDonald's up there running in third. Wally Wilson made some gains in this race for sure, back up to P3, and your top two still the same. Lapsovich has come out to about an 8-car lead now, with Connor James now taking that fourth spot back from Carson Nagy.
Yeah, the 69 of Wally Wilson is saying, dun, 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 dun. I'm loving it that the 4 of Connor James is losing pace behind him. He doesn't have to worry about that nose pushing him along anymore. As now we see smoke on the racetrack there as Wally Wilson at 69 is trying to catch the draft coming off the 97 of Tyler there just to give him that window, give him that opportunity. That's not going to help getting loose off of 2 right there. Looks like we have another slow car on the racetrack there. Might bring out a caution if we can keep it clean. That's Jack Dixon in that 07 machine right there. What we see now is a little bit more fanned out the top of the grid right here. Will, if it stays this way, these laps are going to tick down quick, fast, and in a hurry.
I believe we can stay green. I believe we can stay green. That's going to be the name of the game. That's what Trayton Lapsovich is up there saying, that P1 position. He wants it to be green. He knows he has the best car here. He knows he can outrun everybody here. That's what he's going to go do. Tyler DiSavino, it needs to catch that 20 car. I mean, he needs some more pace here. Didn't have a really good restart. And I'm going to tell you, Wally Wilson is running that 97 car down. He's gaining about a half a tenth a lap right now. And at a quarter mile, that ticks down fast. Running out of time, though. Got about 25 laps to go for the 20 car Trayton Lapsovich. Make it 24 right here at the line. Running out of time quick at this quarter mile racetrack.
Yeah, 24 laps to go right now as we're green flag racing. We love this green flag out here. No more yellows as the chant is going on. And there it is right there. We have another caution here on the racetrack here. As now he's going to bunch up the field once again. You see the 93 of Nagy down on the infield right there. You see the 8 machine right there as well. It's been a caution fest here tonight, Will, to say the least. We've done our best to try to give the folks at home the live action coverage of this race. As you see, the 8 machine is just going to get wild by himself there on the racetrack. Just try to take it into the corner with a lot of speed there. For some reason, I think we've run enough laps here tonight to tell how to race these race cars here at the Coliseum. Looks like the 8 machine is just trying to get this race over with like a lot of drivers here tonight. But you still got to think, though, winning this race at the Coliseum, through all the frustration, through all the adversity, through all the yellow flags, it's still going to feel good to be the first winner of the season.
It always feels good to be the first winner of the season, right? It sets the tone for the rest of your year. Regardless of how the race actually ended up running, you still won the race at the end of the day. You still go home with the trophy. So it does set the tone for the rest of the year of, hey, Joey Logano won the Clash to start the year. He's your 2022 champion. It's things like that. It does set the tone for the rest of the year. It gives you a morale boost to start off with first thing, and it definitely it makes you feel good inside, if nothing else.
Yeah, this is going to be a huge morale booster, huge confidence booster for whoever can be the last car standing here tonight. We're going to watch those top 3 cars at the top of the grid right there. We have Lapsovich, we have Tyler. Tyler, we'll get your last name down pat as this series carries along. And we have Wally Wilson there in that 69. Wally really stood out to me not only because of his name is so cool there in that 69 McDonald's machine, but from the heat races, really ran a kind of a comfortable pace there, kept it cool, didn't really get into too much trouble. I think he did have a spin there once in a while, but here tonight in this feature race, has felt the pressure from Connor James in that 4 machine, has felt the pressure from other guys here on the track. He's really kept pace and kept that McDonald's machine inside the top 3.
No, he is. He's McLovin the job he's doing, and I'm sure everybody on his team's thanking him for keeping the car relatively clean tonight. As Paul, the pace car driver, is getting his laps in tonight, putting the field multiple laps down up here in that beautiful, beautiful Ford Mustang pace car. It's just going to duck off the pit road right now. We're going to go to the Geico restart zone.
Yeah, as Lapsovich is going to take us across the line right now, as they're going to check up just a little bit there on the front stretch. It's going to open the door for Tyler in that 97. But there goes Connor James to the inside of Wally Wilson in the 69. Down the backstretch right now is Connor James, and Wally Wilson make contact as Connor James is going to use that opportunity to overtake Wally Wilson in that 69. Connor James is going to now take that 3rd position down into 2-1 and 2. It's tight, though, as he's trying to hold off Wally Wilson in that 69. Now Tyler's trying to catch that draft coming off of Lapovich here. We're going to cross this line with 16 laps to go here in the Hot Rod Setups Cup Series. This is the first event of this season. Couldn't be more excited to bring you live coverage here on Maconi Entertainment. We got quite the race on our hands now, Will, as we're counting the laps down here at the Coliseum.
Starting to count them down here, about 15 to go at the line for Trayton Lapsovich. Aggressive move from Connor James down on the restart in a one. Kind of wondering if the 69 of Wally Wilson moves Connor James out of the way for that aggression. Kind of pays him back a little bit. As the 97 of Tyler DiSavinzo is catching the 20 of Trayton Lapsovich right now, reeling him in lap after lap after lap. Definitely is gonna get to him for the end of the race. Just a matter of how bad. As the lap car spun out on the inside of the racetrack here into turn one, do we stay green? Does he get it turned around? I think he will get it turned around. We're going to stay green here out of 4.
And that was very smooth out of that 15 machine, waiting for everybody to go by so that another caution doesn't come out. We've seen a little bit of an antsiness there under caution where drivers get back on the gas and that caution comes out due to them spinning or making contact with somebody else. But right now we're still green flag racing here with 11 laps to go. Lapovich is going to take us down into 1 and 2. He is our lap leader here tonight. He is counting the laps down, and Lapovich wants to lead that last lap to get the victory here tonight at the Coliseum. We talked about Tyler almost wanting to catch him there, and he does want to catch him, but Connor James wants from Tyler as we head down into 3 and 4 now with 9 laps to go.
9 more to go for Trayton Lapsovich right here. We got the 97 of Tyler DiSavinzo trying to run him down. Trayton Lapsovich catching a little lap traffic. No big deal. Lap traffic goes high out of 4. Going to be more trouble for the second place car than for Trayton Lapsovich. Everybody under a blanket, 2nd through 4th. It's kind of what we've seen all night. Trayton Lapsovich run off from everybody else. Second as Wally Wilson spins the inside wall down the backstretch, just looped it around, lost it head first into the wall. Tough for that McDonald's machine. Gonna need a Mick replacement for the front end of that race car.
And he is not McLoving it down into that inside wall right now. The 69 of Wally Wilson, I talked about that speed, but now we have our caution flag has flown once again here. Cue up Paulie, the pace car driver, because with 6 laps to go, he's going to get another opportunity to lead this field around the track here. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to step aside for our last break of the evening. We'll be right back here on Maconi Entertainment with more live action out of the Hot Rods Setups Cup Series. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back here at the LA Coliseum here live on Maconi Entertainment. Has been a caution fest to say the least, but Lapovich has led the most laps here tonight, trying to lead that last lap as well. We want to thank all of our wonderful sponsors here on Maconi Entertainment. Hot Rod Setups for being our title sponsor of this series. Go check them out on Facebook or Discord for more information about Hot Rod Setups. We also want to thank our series partners, TAM Livery there. Also, JP Alfonso Studios. We saw that beautiful commercial that just went under break. You see it a few times here tonight on Maconi Entertainment. Shout out to all of our wonderful sponsors that make all of this racing possible, all of these broadcasts possible as well. If it wasn't for them, you wouldn't be watching this live coverage here on Maconi Entertainment. So once again, shout out to JP Alfonso Studios, TAM Livery, and our title sponsor, Hot Rod Setups. And speaking of hot rods, Will, I think these drivers want these hot rods to go here tonight under green, and then we're going to go under green here once again.
Great laps, officially a really good restart down there inside. Connor James to the inside of Tyler DiSavinzo. Don't know if he's going to be able to clear him down here into 3, and he will be able to clear him off into 3. Connor James going to try to run down Trayton Lapsovich for the first spot.
Now, as we have the white flag is in the air, Lapovich is going to take us down the backstretch down into 3 and 4. It looks like he might get the race victory here tonight, and he does. He leads the last lap. Lapovich is our race winner here from the Coliseum. A big win to survive the clash, the last man standing, if you will, avoided all the chaos, avoided all the calamity, and he's officially our first winner of the season. Now it's time to get that thing sideways as he's going to burn it down on the front stretch.
Connor James and Tyler DiVincenzo finish rounding out your top three there. Wally Wilson still held on for a top four, so not a bad night for him to start the year, but definitely a good night to start the season out for Trayton Lapsevich. Really, he got up front and it was pure domination. Started deep in the field, come up through the field, uh, ran a good race, ran a solid race in this crazy race that we did have.
Yeah, and you spoke about it, Will, as now Trayton's going to burn what's left of those Goodyear Eagles down on the front stretch, and you see how close the fans are here at the Coliseum. They'll love that tire smoke in their face. But you mentioned it actually about the halfway point of this main event, Will. If you can get out to that open air and you could run your own lines, you can really set your own pace at the top. You don't have to worry about anybody putting any pressure on you. You don't have to worry about any cars to get around. Once you can get out there by yourself, you can dominate this racetrack. And Lapovich did exactly what you predicted.
I mean, yeah, he did a good job of executing. Realistically, he just went out there and did the best he could and set sail in the wind, right? And that's what you got to do. You got to be methodical and be straight and just go out and do work. Really, once you get out into the lead, and that's kind of what he did, and that's exactly how it went down. No pressure out back all day, and kept his eyes off the windshield.
Yeah, and as we look back at this first race of the season here tonight, Will, it was a caution fest. A lot of things went wrong for a lot of drivers here tonight. It was almost as backed up as LA traffic. What are some of the things these drivers can take on to next week here as we await our top three for those podium finish interviews? What are some of the things the drivers can take from a race like this, maybe carry on to the second week of the season?
I don't know. From the Coliseum to Daytona, absolutely nothing other than mashing the gas pedal. Yeah, a completely different way. We go from from the smallest track on the NASCAR circuit to the second biggest track on the NASCAR circuit, minus road course, the second biggest oval. Yeah, I don't know how much you're going to take from here tonight. This was really just a free for all, like Call of Duty, like you mentioned earlier. Every man for himself, and it's part of the nature of the beast. It is what it is. I do believe we have caught up with the winner of the race, Trayton Lapsevich. I think Will, you found him down there in Victory Lane.
Yeah, he is celebrating hard, and what a beautiful city it is to celebrate here. He conquers the clash at the Coliseum once he got out there to that open air. Ladies and gentlemen, he didn't look back. Racing out of Canada here, so he's going to love the beautiful beaches in LA. He's going to love that trophy he gets from winning this race here tonight. Trayton Lapovich, you come home victorious here tonight. It was a bit of a caution fest to say the least. Paulie, the pace car driver, got a lot of laps there in that beautiful Ford Mustang. How were you able to conquer this track here tonight through all the chaos and calamity?
Yeah, I mean it was kind of just staying alive, really. I made some mistakes myself, but it made it interesting. Knocked up the car a little, got a little bit of damage, but it really wasn't a problem. Just the big thanks to everyone at Reaper Speed Lab and all the guys at Ignite for putting this on for us.
Yeah, it was a great race to say the least. I think a lot of the drivers are trying to get used to this track here tonight. What do you think makes the Coliseum such a difficult track? It's probably one of the short tracks that you're going to hit in these next gen cars. What do you think makes it so difficult for a lot of drivers?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a combination of the track and the setup. It was just really, really loose. So we really had to pedal it. It was cracking an egg about every lap, and it was really about who could be the smoothest getting on the throttle that was ultimately going to be the fastest. So it's definitely tough. It's tough racing around other cars. It's hard to pass, as we saw with all the cautions. But overall, I think I was surprised with the amount of green flag laps that we did get in. Cautions weren't as bad as I figured they would be, although we still did have quite a few cautions. But ultimately, it was a pretty good race considering the circumstances.
I was speaking with my co-host here of the evening and I asked him the same question, but as the race leader, I'm interested to hear your point of view. What can you take from a race like this? Obviously, it's a yellow flag caution fest. I know you're going to take the victory. That's one obvious thing there. But what are the type of the things that you can learn from a race like this that you can carry over to week number 2 here in the Hot Rod Setups Cup Series?
Um, I think a lot of it is just adjusting to the longer races. You really have to be there at the end. We do get one chance to repair our cars, but still that can get away from you pretty quick. So just conserving the tires, conserving the car, making sure that you're there at the end of 150 laps. I think that's going to be key, especially heading into the longer races throughout the whole year.
Well, Trayton, you come home the race victor here tonight, and with that race victory, we want to give you the opportunity to shout out anybody that you might have had watching here tonight and any sponsors that made this race victory possible.
Yeah, big thanks for Parker Retzlaff for being on my box and helped me through the last half of the race there, and then big shout out to Reaper Speed Lab as well.
Awesome, Trayton. Well, a big congratulations from us here at Maconi Entertainment. We appreciate you taking the time with us, my man, and go enjoy that victory.
Thank you.
All right, Will, that was our race winner, Trayton Lapovich. I believe you're catching up with our second place finisher of the race here tonight.
We got Connor James down here in the 4 car. Connor, kind of an up and down night for sure, from the back to the front to the back to the middle of the pack, back up to the front in the P2 with some aggressive moves at the end there. Tell me about your race real quick.
Yeah, kind of like what Trayton said. It was just kind of ride around and survive. And like you said, we kind of had to come from the back a couple times. And kind of once we were able to get to the front, we were kind of able to stay there behind Ty and Trayton, just kind of ride it out to the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Crazy night out here. What are you going to be able to take from the quarter mile, one of the shortest tracks that you will go to all season, and use that for Daytona next week?
I just think that survive mentality. I mean, hopefully the guys at the super speedways will be able to ride around a little bit more because it's going to be a long race and there's not really much you can do at a super speedway. You can't kind of check out on guys like you can at a track like this where you need to use the brake pedal. Um, and yeah, just gonna have to find guys to work with.
Absolutely, you're gonna have to find some guys to work with the Daytona. Good thing is you got a week to do that, and send out some feeler cards and some thank you notes after the race, and maybe patch up anything after this race that the front bumper might have caused. Who makes this happen for you, buddy? Who we got to think out here?
Well, obviously Don and the whole Ignite team and Reaper Speed Labs, Pull Down Motorsports, and Jordan House as my spotter, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Just and thank you to you guys as well for putting us on.
Well, do me a favor real quick before you leave. Tell Jordan I said hi. All right.
All right, will do.
Alrighty. Well, I think you've caught up with Tyler Devon Zero, as we've known to call him across this race here. Let's get him up here for the third place.
Yeah, our third place finisher of the evening. Tyler, we've been calling you by your first name all night long. You ran a really strong race there in that Sharpie machine. Before we get started with those questions, how do you pronunciate your last name?
Divananzo.
DiVincenzo. I think
Yeah.
we can get that, Will. I think that's not hard to get down.
Forever.
DiVincenzo.
I've known it forever, and I've called it right forever. It just tongue twisted me tonight.
Oh man. Well, Tyler, you ran a great race. Of course, you kind of got bogged down there at the end of the race, equated to that third place finish. Take us through that race here tonight. It was a caution fest to say the least, but still ran pretty strong there in the 97 machine.
Yeah, not bad overall. Didn't seem to have the speed that Lapsevich and James had, but we were able to keep the quarters on it for most of the part. Yeah, that's all you can ask for here, and happy to come out with third place.
Yeah, it was a great way to scrap out a podium finish there at the end. What can you take from a race like this? You know, heading into week 2, of course, it's a race. It's a little bit different. It's probably the short track you're going to hit there in the next gen cars. You know, we get to the big Daytona track next week. What are some of the things that you can kind of write down and take notes about here in week number 1?
Just try and keep it clean like I did tonight. And next week's obviously going to be about survival. Try and work with people for sure. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. Have to be there at the end.
Awesome, Tyler. Well, you ran a great race there in the 97 machine. Podium finish isn't bad to start off this season. But here with that podium finish, we'd love to give you the opportunity to shout out anybody you had watching here tonight, any sponsors that may have made this podium finish possible.
Yeah, for sure. Got to thank Don and the whole Ignite team for this, as well as you guys for broadcasting. and Pull Down Motorsports and Reaper Speed Lab. Can't thank them enough for making this happen.
Awesome, Tyler. Well, we appreciate you taking the time with us here tonight, my man. We'll see you next week here on Maconi Entertainment.
Thank you.
And Will, I believe you're catching up with McLovin himself there, Wally Wilson in the 69. Wally ran one heck of a race, but just finished short of that podium.
Yeah, we have caught up with Mick Wally Wilson here. A new menu item on the McDonald's menu items. Wally, tell me about your race, buddy. Tell me you're up and down night. Kind of got a little free at times. Smacked the wall once or twice. Still managed to come up here and finish top 5. Crazy night for you.
It's kind of like what the other guys were saying. It's pretty well just that survive mentality. You get spun and you just gotta like stay in it and make some moves, I guess.
Definitely have to make the most out of what you can get. I'm going to ask you now. What do you think? Anything you can take from the smallest track we go to and take it and use it at Daytona or maybe another track throughout the year period. You guys are going to travel all across this country racing these next gen cars over the next several weeks in this hot rod setup series. So what are you going to be able to use after tonight?
Same kind of thing. I think really just survive. Like I'm sure super speedways and everything, people will be kind of calm, hopefully, but you never really know.
Yeah, for sure. Just survive and survive and survive, and maybe make some friends over the next week. Find some drafting help for sure, and it's one thing you do need that you don't need at a quarter mile. Who makes this happen for you, man? Who we got to shout out? Mom, dad, grandma, aunt and uncle. Who we shouting out tonight, and who we thanking?
I gotta shout out everyone that put this together. It's a fun league to run, so should be pretty good the rest of the season.
Alrighty, that's been our 4th place finisher, Mick Wally Wilson. You can catch him at McDonald's as the new menu item. Awesome guy, awesome to race with. Thank you for being here, Wally, and thanks for the interview, bud.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir. And I believe we're catching up with our 5th place finisher. Gonna get a 5th place finish here, top 5. Not a bad way to start off the season here. Colton, you started off the season with a 5th place finish. It was a caution fest to say the least. You survived though. You're able to scrape out that top 5. Take us through your race here tonight.
Actually, I was in another league race just before this, and I came in for a couple practice laps, so I was able to make the grid, but I was a few laps down to start the race, and thank God for the cautions because I was able to get up to the lead lap and get a top 5 finish here.
That's even better. It's even better of a story there to come from a few laps down. You know, we're going to go from the shortest short track you can take in these next-gen cars to Daytona. How excited are you? You know, you just spoke about how you came into the session a little bit late. You actually went a couple laps down. How excited are you to go super speedway racing to actually let let those ponies gallop, if you will?
Honestly, I'm more so of a short track kind of guy. I'm not too good at the whole drafting situation and being pushed around and stuff. So hopefully that we can keep the car straight going down this long straightaways and keep it in one piece so we don't wreck the field here.
Awesome, Colton. But a top 5 here tonight. Like I said, not a bad way to start the season in a hot rod setup Cup Series. With that top 5 finish, though, we love to give you that opportunity to shout out anybody you had watching here tonight, any sponsors that may have made this race possible for you.
Yeah, first and foremost, I got to thank all you guys for doing what you're doing. You know, Don Hot Rod and the Ignite Racing Series, and got to thank my mom for watching, sitting at home here watching me, and Pull Down Motorsports for making this all happen.
Awesome, Colton. But a top 5 finish here tonight. Great run you had here tonight, man. We'll see you next week. But I believe, Will, you're catching up with a special guest here on Maconi Entertainment.
Special indeed. We are joined tonight by Donnie Hot Rod himself, the title sponsor of this division, the Hot Rod Setups. Donnie, this is the first week of this Cup Series. Might have been a little dirtier than you were wanting overall. A lot of laps with Paulie, the pace car driver, running around, but exciting nonetheless.
Yeah. This is the second we ran last week at Daytona, and it was kind of like a feeler warm up race. So I thought, you know what, we're going to run 2 races before the points take effect, And this was one of them. With the heat races, I thought, it's a little bit special. And I was kind of hoping we were going to keep some of the caution laps down. But obviously, that didn't happen tonight. The guys put on a really good show considering they didn't have the greatest to work with. The setup didn't come in until about lap 35, lap 40 on a green flag run. So, they did good. They did really good. I think we just started too many cars for the whole feature tonight. But you know what? Next week's Daytona again. The starting lineups based off of last week and this week's average. So last week we had Jonathan Platt win. This week we had Trayton Lapsovich. Lapsovich finished dead last week. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting throughout the year with Daytona being next week. Start of the points race. Anything you're really looking forward to? Any drivers that you personally might be looking at here going into this first points race of the year?
Personally, I'm looking a lot at Tyler DiVincenzo and Kyle Egger. I mean, I know Kyle Egger got kicked tonight just because of his extracurricular activities at the under the cautions. But if Kyle gets his attitude and his temper under control, he could be a really big factor to take the $300 to win, right, for the points champion. Tyler DiVincenzo, everywhere we've gone so far, he's quick, he's smart, and same with Connor James. They all got the same kind of mentality. I'm not sure if Trayton Lapsovich is going to run the whole season or not. He was kind of up in the air when I talked to him earlier tonight. Colton Evernham, he's only going to run a select few amount of races, which is more the short track races like North Wilkesboro or Nashville Fairgrounds that we have coming up in a couple of weeks. So, you got to look at the guys that don't really race the points season that are going to come in and kind of just disrupt that a little bit, right? So, it's really hard to pinpoint at this particular time who's going to take the points championship.
Exactly, but it's going to be exciting to watch nonetheless, and you can catch that all on Maconi Entertainment. Mr. Donnie, we thank you for everything you do for this Cup Series, and we thank what you do for us. An awesome guy. Hot Rod Setups, find them on Facebook. Awesome setups, courtesy of Donnie himself. Donnie, thanks for coming up here and talking with us for a few minutes. I think we're going to get rolling, and
I'm glad I could come up here. You know what? Between the NASCAR and the GT3 stuff that we've got going, like Hot Rod and JP Alfonso Studios, we've really we came together to build some really special stuff. We got some European stuff coming up here in the next month or two. We've got a big payout race coming up in March or April. Something that iRacing's never seen before, I hope. And you know what? I'm just glad that Maconi Entertainment can be a part of it, and all of you guys.
yes, sir. Thank you for having us again, Donnie Hot Rod. Everybody, cheer for him on the way out. Got to thank him for everything in the Cup Series. Will, let's take him home.
Yes, sir. Well, Will, before we close it out here tonight, any final thoughts about this Caution Fest race here?
It was kind of disappointing from a fan perspective, just watching the yellows, but at the same time, I understand how it can be that way. Like Donnie said, the car could have been a handful for the first couple of laps here, and we're on to Daytona next week, start of the points championship next week. So, like he said, we got a bunch of different guys to look for as the year goes on. I'm excited. I know you're excited. I know even our producer, Eddie Smith, up there is excited clicking the buttons. So it's going to be a good couple of weeks throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, as those official results tick down your screen right there, of course, you're going to get another look as our race winner here this evening. But as we wrap it up here tonight from the Coliseum, we want to thank tonight's race sponsor, Hot Rod Setups, as well as our broadcast partners here at Maconi Entertainment. Calling the action tonight was myself, William Tiller, alongside another Will in the booth, William Hale and Eddie Smith behind those decks, giving you all those beautiful shots you saw all night long here from the Coliseum. As always, we'd like to thank all of our viewers for tuning into tonight's race action. It was a tough one to watch, I'd have to say, with all the caution flags, but it was an exciting finish nonetheless. We hope to see you all on the 14th for the JP Alfonso GT Series at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Until then, stay tuned to the Maconi Entertainment for their work in bringing this race to you, and hope to see you at our next event. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment, and we wish you all a great night.